Hey everybody, welcome back to another math video here at Math Rocks with Mr. Cox. In a previous video, we were looking at how slope and the y-intercept would impact the equation of our line of best fit. And in this case, we would get, because the slope is 2 and the y-intercept is 4, we would get y equals 2x plus 4. Well, what if we weren't given the slope and the y-intercept? What if instead we were given 2 points? Or perhaps we were given a point and we knew the lines were parallel. Or perhaps it was just a point and the lines were perpendicular instead. What would you do? So if this sounds like something you want to find out more about, stick around and find out. Let's get it on. All right, so before we actually start looking at some of the different scenarios you might see and how to find the equation of a line, there's a few things you need to remember about the equation of any line. Well, first of all, it's going to come in the form y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. And your goal is to first find the slope of the line, and then you can find the y-intercept from there pretty easily. And finally, remember slope is defined as rise over right. Some people call it rise over run, or the change in y divided by the change in x. So once you realize all three of these concepts here and can utilize them, you'll be able to find the equation of any line. So let's get started out looking at some of the scenarios. All right, so the first one you might see is where you're given a slope and you're given a point, and that's all you know. So what we already know, because we know y equals mx plus b, is this negative 3/4 is what m is. So we can write y equals negative 3/4 x plus b. Now we don't know b yet because b is going to be the y-intercept, and all we're given is a point here and it's not the y-intercept. But we do know that 12 is x and negative 4 is y. So then what we can do is in the equation, wherever we see a y, we're going to plug in a negative 4. So we can write negative 4 equals negative 3/4. And x is no longer x, it's going to be 12. So I'm going to go right at 12 right there, and then plus b. Negative 3/4 of 12, you can take out your calculator, or if you just know, it's going to be negative 9. So negative 4 equals negative 9 plus b. And then to solve for b, all you got to do is add 9 to both sides. And 9 minus 4 is 5. So b equals 5. So therefore, the equation of this line is going to be negative 3/4 x and then a plus 5. So once again, it's about finding the slope and finding the y-intercept. All right, so in this scenario, you don't know the slope, and all you know is you know 2 points. So let's take a look at how this would work. So first of all, let's go ahead and find the equation of the slope. So to do that, we're going to need to know the change in y. So our y's are 8 and 23, and to get from 8 to 23, that means we're going up 15 because 8 plus 15 is 23. So our change in y is a change in positive 15. And then if we look at x, x is 4 and it's going to become a 10. So to get from 4 to 10, we're going up 6. And we can reduce this by dividing both of them by 3. So we would get 5 over 2. So now we know the slope. So we're already halfway there. So y equals 5 halves x and then plus b. Then you can pick any of the 2 points that you like, either point 1 or point 2. You know what? I am going to go with point 1. Those numbers are a little bit smaller. I know my x and my y. So my y is 8. So this is going to become an 8. And then we get 5 halves times x, which is 4. And then plus b. Well, if you take 5 halves times 4, you're going to get 10. So 8 equals 10 plus b. Then you can subtract 10 on both sides, and when you do that, you're going to get negative 2 equals b. Therefore, our equation is going to be y equals 5 halves x and then a minus 2. If you like what you've seen and heard so far, please like, comment, or subscribe. Thank you, and back to the show. All right, here's yet another scenario. Well, what if we don't have 2 points or a point in the slope? Well, all we know in this case is that it's a line that's parallel to this line, and we know it contains the point 4, 9. So I know x and y are 4 and 9 respectively. Over here, if I wanted to find the slope of this line, I know my slope is 2. And what do we know about lines that are parallel? We know they have the same slopes. So therefore, I'm looking for the exact same slope. So my slope is going to be 2. So I can already know the slope at this point. And then, as always, we're going to use the x and the y, plug them in over here. So y is no longer y, it's now a 9. X is now a 4, so it's going to be 2 times 4 plus b. We know 2 times 4 is 8, so 9 equals 8 plus b. And then if we subtract 8 and subtract 8, we get 1 equals b. So therefore, our equation is going to be y equals 2x plus 1. Yet another scenario is, what if they're not parallel, but what if they're instead perpendicular? So it turns out that we know the slope over here is going to be 2. And perpendicular lines always have what's called negative reciprocals. So what do I mean by a negative reciprocal? I mean this. If one slope is, say, 2/3, the other is going to be the opposite sign and flipped upside down, excuse me there. So -3/2, or perhaps it was a -4. By the way, that slope is -4/1. So my perpendicular line would be +1/4. So that, like I said, when they're perpendicular, they have negative reciprocal slopes. So the negative reciprocal slope of 2 is going to be -1/2. So therefore, my equation is going to be y equals -1/2 x plus b. And then we're going to go back and we're going to go ahead and substitute for x and y. So y is now a 3. X is a 6, so I'm going to get -1/2 times 6 plus b. 6 times -1/2 is -3, so I get 3 equals -3 plus b. I'm going to add 3 to both sides, so I get 6 equals b. Therefore, my equation is going to be y equals -1/2 x and then plus 6. All right, and finally, what if we have a big bad word problem instead of just information given to us? So we have Taylor saving the same amount of money each week in her bank account. After 6 weeks, she has $210 and then has $435 after 15 weeks. Write an equation to represent how much money, that's y, she has saved after x weeks. So 6 is going to represent x, so therefore I could write that as a point. 6, y is how much money she has. So in 6 weeks she has $210. The other point is going to be after 15 weeks, she's going to have $435. So this is kind of like the similar problem before where we have 2 points. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to find the slope. So remember, slope is delta y over delta x. So the change in y to go from 210 to 435 means we're going to go up $225. So that's our change in y. Our change in x to get from 6 to 15 would be 9. And it turns out if you take 225 divided by 9, you get 25 on the nose. So now we know our slope. So our slope is going to be 25. So y equals 25x plus b. To find the y-intercept, what we would do is use one of the 2 points. I kind of like the first one better. Smaller numbers, once again, is my usual rule here. So y is going to be 210. X is going to be 6. And then plus b. Well, 6 times 25 would be 150. So 210 equals 150 plus b. And then if we subtract 150 on both sides, we're going to get 60 equals b. So therefore, our final equation when we're all said and done is going to be y equals 25x and plus 60. And what that means is that she started with $60 in the bank and then every week is saving $25. So that's it, you guys. Those are the 5 scenarios you're likely to see when it comes to finding the equation of a line. Hope you got a lot out of this video and hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching.